Hey guys, subscribe for daily knife content. And if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Civivi Badlands Vagabond. What you're seeing here is the Damascus and carbon fiber variant of this knife. If you're not familiar with Civivi, generally they do kind of a more upscale version of these budget knives. I'm still going to call this a budget knife. And then they do like the standard version. The standard version of this knife is injection mold plastic and 9CR 18 MOV. It's great. Great price. You can find both versions down below. I'm going to do something that I don't normally do in reviews because I do want you guys to watch my videos, but a lot of you guys are going to be quick to notice that this knife is extremely similar to the Civivi Ortis. And many of you are aware that I named the Civivi Ortis my favorite budget knife of all time. Yeah, so this review is going to end with me recommending the Vagabond. I'm going to save some of you some time. Like, by all means, if you want to sit around and hear my thoughts, because I do have a lot of I've got some stuff to say about this. This is a good knife. It's very good. It's not that much different than the Ortis other than the blade shape and the fact that it's using a thumb stud instead of a thumb slot thing, right? So if you want to sit around and hear my thoughts, I do have a few things that I want to talk about this knife. But if you're wondering, like, hey, is it worth it? It's $40. It's great. It's a lot like the Ortis, but it's just a little bit different. So yeah, I'll link it down below. In fact, I'll link the Ortis as well. These are both excellent, right? So save some people some time, right? I'm not all that concerned with my viewing time, right? Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. You can find a link for my Patreon down in the description as well, and make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. We're going to speed through this here real quick. Overall length of the Badlands Vagabond coming in at about 7.5, just shy of 7.5 inches. Blade length is 3 1/4, and cutting edge is about 2.85, something like that. Do a couple of size comparisons, but this is largely the same as the Civivi Ortis, so I don't know how important it is to get every last little thing. Let's do the Ontario Rat Model 1. There you go. And let's do the Spyderco Para 3. I think that'll give everybody just about everything they want to know about size and things like that. As far as carry profile, you guys remember with the Ortis, right? This is not an overly thick knife. It does have contoured scales, but it largely comes in the exact same thickness as the Para 3. This does have a flipper tab. Height and length up against the PM2 and Para 3. You can see here it is shorter than the Para 3 and definitely shorter than the PM2. And even with the flipper tab, it's just not a tall object. On the inside here, same as the Ortis, we are looking at steel liners that have been knocked out a little bit or carved out for weight reduction, so that's great. The blade stock thickness on this guy is definitely not thick. Let's go ahead and measure it here real quick just because I think that's important even if I've already done it on the Ortis. Yeah, 125,000, so that's fine. Weight on this guy might vary a little bit, depending on the handle material that you get, but, all in all, it's just not a super heavy knife. We're looking at a 3-ounce knife, which on this channel, I consider anything under 3 ounces to be ultra lightweight. Ratios are good, profile's good. This is an easy to carry knife. By the way, normally we do the hardware check. Where are my tools? There they are. You can get my tools down in the description. They're very inexpensive and very recommendable. These are just amazing, and so is this. I mean, I don't say that enough. Like these are awesome. I love these things. Yeah, we're looking at T8 across the board. I'm not actually going to get those out. It's the same kind of deal. Minimum hardware. It's the same head all the way across, except for the pocket clip, which is using T6. But come on now, when we get a knife that's like really dark like this, sometimes it has trouble focusing. T6 on the pocket clip, but that's okay, right? It's just great. Backspacer looks nice. There's a little lanyard thing. Okay. So, this is, it's the same thing. It's got that little pokey flipper tab, but it works, right? Deployment on the thumb stud. The thumb stud's in exactly the right place. And the thumb stud's also shaped in a way that is just friendly to the finger. There's not a ton of room down here to get behind it, but there's plenty of room. You can do your fancy reverse flick. You can do your fancy thumb flick, right? This is running on bearings, so the action's nice and just takes a couple of little wiggles there, right? The action feels good considering what we're working with here. It's just nice, and there's no double clutch. I mean, as far as like where that thing falls, yeah, you're ready to go, right? It's great. Fit and finish all the way around is excellent. I really like this faux bolster look thing that they do. I like that they texture this area of either the, you'll get the same texturing whether it's the carbon fiber or it's the the injection mold plastic. Let me say this. Civivi's doing a great job with their carbon fiber. This looks to be much higher quality than that typical shiny stuff that we get from, other companies that are doing carbon fiber in this ballpark area of price. Civivi does nice carbon fiber for the most part. Every now and then I've seen some of that flat, shiny stuff like in the past, but man, it looks really good, right? Their stainless Damascus also looks really good. I gotta be honest with you, I don't know exactly what it is. It's a combination of two different steels. I've heard it perform similar to 440C, which is fine, right? Depending on what the Damascus is, Damascus is not like if you're talking about Damasteel or Damacore, that's proprietary. It's always the same type of stuff. But Damascus can be any two combinations of different steels and yields widely varying performance depending on what the steels are, how it's heat treated, what the blade geometry is, right? Blah, blah, blah. If you don't want to worry about that, right? If you just love the aesthetic of Damascus, then by all means, go for this guy, right? I think it's going to perform okay. 9CR 18MOV is definitely going to be the better performer all the way around, and it's less money. 9CR 18MOV is just fine for what they want for $40, right? This thing has excellent fit and finish, and the blade is awesome. This blade is, I know there's some people who are like, you need to do a battle with the Ortis because they're like, it sounds like these are like your favorite too. Yeah, I'm not going to weigh you guys down with an extra video on that. I'm just going to talk about both of these in the same video and tell you guys, what's better about which one versus the other one, because I think a lot of people might watch this and wonder that, right? So this has a drop point, or maybe you might, I don't know if you can call it spear point blade or what. It looks like drop point to me. It looks like the, the standard blade shape that you get on a Benchmade barrage, like the drop point blade. It's got a nice swedge up here. There's a flat that carries out maybe 60% the length of the blade. Because of this, how this blade shape is, it's got a little bit more, I don't know, maybe a little bit more robustness than the clip point on this guy, right? These are both hollow ground. You might be wondering, is it the same hollow grinding? Yeah. Very thin behind the edge, right? And there's nothing in the cutting path because of this area right here that is, for the most part, a forward choil. It's like a single knuckle choil, right? So that's great. Belly's nice, and it's sharpened well. I mean, there's really nothing to complain about on the blade here. This is a liner lock, and it's a fine liner lock. There's a position for the pocket clip to be mounted on the left-handed side. So even though it is a right-handed liner, right-handed liner lock, people with that are left-hand dominant should be better at it than I'm showing you right now. And I'm right-handed, right? This is very easy to manipulate with my left hand, but it is a right-handed liner lock. Pocket clip carries deep. The bill is a little bit kind of aggressive. I think it didn't need to be that high, and it doesn't have to come to that actual bill, right? They could have just left it like that, and it's fine. The pocket clip is great. The screws are recessed. It's going to come in and out of the pants easy. A little bit of texturing here might fray your pants up over time just a little bit, but not really that big of a deal. The pivot, as far as I know, is captive. That's generally the way it is with Civivis. This guy is locking up at, we can't really see it because of the color. Can I get my flashlight on it? We're locking up at something like, it's like 40%. And there is no blade play up, down, left, or right. And this blade came centered. Yeah, it came centered. So there you go. No detent lash, anything like that. It's typical Civivi, right? They made another, I just about cut myself. They made another home run, right? That was about as fast as I've ever done a review. This is a recommendable knife. Let's talk about... Let's talk about the differences between these two, because the Ortis, I was like, oh my gosh, that is just really good. It's a good size for EDC. It's got the thumb slot, right? And you can do the reverse flick, right? That's great. It's got the flipper tab and it works. Flipper tab's a little pokey on both. Which do I prefer for deployment between the two? Well, both of them flip just fine. Both of them have a flipper tab that's pretty low profile. It's a little bit pointy, but it will definitely flip it, right? I can reverse flick this guy. I can do the thumb flick with the Vagabond. I can also kind of do that with the thumb slot, but I can also easily reverse flick this guy. I could turn this into a big, long, complicated discussion if I want, but this is what I have to say about this. These are both dead equal. It's just, if you like a drop point blade and you kind of like thumb studs, go with the Vagabond, the Badlands Vagabond. If you like a clip point blade and you like the idea of reverse flicking it with a thumb slot, go with the Ortis. The one thing that I wish they would have done differently on the Vagabond, because I'm realizing now, because of where I put my fingers, when I go to deploy a thumb stud opener, right, I'm going to do it like this. If I'm going to do the reverse flick, I don't have to worry about it. But I'm pinching my finger up against that flipper tab, right? And so it kind of drags a little bit, but not really that much. There's a teeny tiny complaint. I'm probably never going to deploy this knife like this. I'm going to do the reverse flick, or I'm going to use the flipper tab. I think this is a perfect combination on this guy, the combination of the opening hole and the flipper tab, because of how I'm going to try and deploy it. With this guy, I'm going to instinctively try to do this, right? I wish they had done this without the flipper tab. This guy, for sure. Flipper version of it works fine. That's great. Have a version of this with the flipper tab. The Ortis is excellent exactly the way that it is. I wish they had specifically done this version without the flipper tab. Another thing that would have been nice, and this goes for the Ortis too, if it didn't have the flipper tab, right? It's just that thumb studs, I think, are a little bit easier for a lot of people to engage than, like, because there's a lot of people who just can't do the reverse flick, so they would be stuck opening this knife like this, right? So if we did this version of the knife with no flipper tab, that would make this forward choil up here much more accessible, and it would make this area much more comfortable if I'm going to choke up. And then I wouldn't have to worry about it at all when I go to deploy it like this, because that's how I'm going to want to deploy it. That would have made this knife better. As of right now, these are both pretty much exactly the same. They're both perfect. I know you guys want me to, but which one do I buy? Tell me which one no. You can make that decision for yourself, or you can decide to buy neither of them, right? I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying if you're looking at these two and you're like, which one's better? Tell me which one you think is better. Neither of these is better than the other one. It's going to come down to preferences. For me, the one that would have been the clear winner, this one, if they had removed that. And you can just grind this off, right? Somebody who's got one of these, I mean, it's, like the $40 variant, if you want to grind that flipper tab off, I'm positive that you'd be like, oh yeah, that's better, right? It's kind of the same thing that happens with the XM18 3.5 inch and 3 inch. I know there's much more expensive knives, but those choils just aren't quite big enough, even on the 3.5 inch model. It makes the thing so much more comfortable. The non-flipper variants are so much more comfortable because the flipper tab's just not there, right? They can easily be deployed now with the thumb stud. They didn't used to be easy. Well, in any case, you can deploy those things with the thumb stud, and I just don't care about the flipper tab on those things, and it just makes the thing so much more ergonomically comfortable. So yeah, these are two of the greatest budget knives that have ever existed, all the way around when it comes to ease of disassembly, the action, the fit and finish, the cutting geometry, the overall size and dimensions, right, carry profile, all of these are just wonderful EDC knives. So excellent. God, this thing would have just been a dream had they removed that flipper tab. But in its current state, it is absolutely a contender, and in my opinion, dead equal to the Civivi Ortis, no matter which version you go with, right? I just love these. These are awesome. They are simple. They're more of the same of what we've been seeing, right? A good, straightforward ergonomic profile, nice, like agreeable lines. I mean, the look of these is just, it's like, yeah, that's pretty good. Like most people are going to look at these and go, that's a reasonably good looking knife, right? They're not doing it. They're not doing anything, polarizing or dangerous with the aesthetic. They're going straight forward by the book, right? They're not reinventing the wheel here. These are good knives, straightforward, simple. They're going to appeal to the everyman. The common knife user. They're also going to kind of appeal to the enthusiast because of elements that we're seeing here that have not traditionally been present on knives that are so inexpensive, right? These are definitely two of the greatest budget knives that have ever existed. Go with either one. I love the thumb stud variant. I love the Ortis. I love I love the Badlands Vagabond for the thumb stud. And honestly, I think I like the blade shape a little more. But the Ortis blade shape is also excellent. I love being able to do the reverse flick with the thumb stud, and I like the combination of the flipper tab and the slot opening thing, right? I like them both. These are both just stupid recommendable. If you're watching this video because you just want to decide, I mean, honestly, at $40 for those of you, like, if it's in your budget, just get both. You only need one. Nobody needs both, right? But just get both, right? Now, get what you want. I'm not trying to, it sounds like a sales pitch now, but yeah, that's why I said it in the beginning. It's recommendable, right? There's no reason to break this down further than it is. Excellent. So, no battle video. Sorry. I know you guys want a death battle, but there's just, I can't overcomplicate it, right? I don't want to overcomplicate it. It's just really, really good. That's going to be pretty much it. Like I said, you can get this guy, you can get the Ortis, every variant that it's available in, Damascus or not, right? It's all right down at the top of the description. So make sure to check those out. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.